So yes, the Spanish did colonize Belize for a time, but they failed to eventually. But the British eventually defeated them as they failed to set up communities or establish a stronghold so that they could properly defend the area. So in 1506, Spain explored the land that is now currently known as Belize, claiming it as part of its territory. Territory/empire. But one of the deciding factors that made it impossible or difficult for them to maintain a stronghold was the intense attacks that they would have to be constantly fighting off the indigenous or local people from this specific area, or currently known as Belize. But in the 1700s or late 1700s, Spain granted British the right to occupy the land in exchange for them defending and defeating the territory or the area against pirates. So they kind of created a treaty that set up like, or made the British became like the policemen of this, not just where currently Belize is at, but probably the region. Seems like they created an alliance to protect themselves against the piracy that was happening back then. So the British began settling the area in 1798. So far this morning I've seen one person that walked to the bus terminal and 3 motorcycles that were cruising around or within the city, and 2 that was going out. So in 1779, the Spanish burned the settlement at that time, which was known as, the settlement of Belize City, current day Belize City. So it seems like at that point, at some point, the treaty between the Spanish and the British fell apart. So the Spanish sent their naval armada or whatever military might be a naval, and they burned the city in 1779. It seems that it continued for a while, the dispute between the British and the Spaniards. Because there's another major conflict or tension between them. This naval battle took place in 1798, and the Baymen defeated the Spanish naval armada attack. But it seems like what happened was in 1779, liberated Africans, slaves from the region that's currently known as Belize today, assisted the Spanish in their attack and their battle against the British settlement during that time. So the Spanish lost in 1798, they lost, but they gained a victory in 1779, and that was a raid on St. George's Key. So just to stray off topic or point just a smidge, the going census, now this might not be entirely accurate because I did not investigate a whole lot of investigate a whole lot of energy into it, but it says today about roughly 15% of Belize population are descendants of the Spaniards. Many of them live and reside in Corozal and Orange Walk district. This is where their ancestors still settle or started a settlement in 1840s. They are one of the first family to have like a mega supermarket. So the Spaniard conquistadors explored the area currently known as Belize and declared it a part of their Spanish Empire, but they failed to settle the territory due to the lack of resources and tribal or indigenous / locals defending their land and their territory and their homes. So in Cayo district, the Twin Town began as a logging camp. So Cayo district was named after the Spanish word, and that word also means island, and that word is cayo, by the way. So it seems like Cayo is known for having many or have an island-like mystique behind it, due to the fact that the Mopan and the Macal had a creek that was running between both of them. It was probably dammed up, dried up, and then it stated that they filled it with limestone gravel. But it seemed like it got that name due to the fact that it has, and it continued to this day, having several different creeks running throughout the district between the capital and Benke. So during its early stage and birth and conquering the territory, Belize back in that day had in 1778 there is a largest record or account known for Belize having a slave revolt during that time. Where a slave took control of 5 logging camps, killed 6 British men, but this revolt was eventually crushed by the British Naval Armada 5 months later. Let it be duly noted that that British Naval Armada set sail from Jamaica, or the men were stationed in Jamaica. Then again in 1820, there was another slave revolt, and I do believe this might have been the last slave revolt. But we have to factor in and take into account there might have been more. So this slave revolt that took place in 1820, it was led by 2 black slaves, and they were from 2 different plantations. They were known as, one was called Blacker and the other was called Blackish, and it was a large, they were able to gather a large amount of slaves that were well and properly armed and started a revolt. And this revolt began due to the fact of harsh treatment from their owners. So reason to vacation in Belize, we roughly have 40% of Belize wildlife, sanctuary, national parks, and marine reserve available for your exploring pleasures, along with food, inland and island adventures.